everyone, welcome to this channel. This is Learning English with Flor. I am so glad that you're joining me back here today. If you're new here, I welcome you. This is where I teach English lessons for you. And my latest series has to do with working in a call center. Whether you've been working there for years or perhaps this is a new job for you, it's really important the language that you use, particularly when you are working with English speakers who are fluent. The way you say something can come off as something else, particularly in this area of customer service. When you first learn English, you learn certain phrases and you learn some of the ways we speak as native English speakers. But when you work in the call center, and you're providing customer service, it's a whole nother ballgame. What do I mean by that? That means that you really have to pay attention to how you say things, and not only that, but certain phrases can potentially come off in a very different way. If you're new here, be sure to check out some of my other videos where I talk about different ways to speak with customers, particularly if they're upset, or if this is your first time, you want to go through some tips, you can check out as well some of my other videos. If you like this video, if you want to check it out more, again, you can also show your support by pressing that like button down below. You can also subscribe and check me out on my social media, particularly my Facebook page. Are you ready to get started? Let's begin. You might have a customer who calls in for a very specific issue which you don't handle. Let's say someone is calling because they have an issue with being overcharged on an account, but that's not in your department. What do you say? Do you just say, "Sorry, wrong department, I'll transfer you"? Or, "Sorry, I can't handle that"? No, don't do that. I mean, yes, you're speaking English correctly, but it really comes off as direct in a sense that you don't want to help them, that's not your problem. Again, if we're providing excellent customer service, there are better ways to say that. In this case, if they need, for example, the accounting department, then you can say, "It sounds like you need the accounting department. Here, let me look up that number for you." Or, "It sounds like you need the accounting department. Here, let me transfer your call." You are right away solving a problem that you see. You're not wasting their time, and they're not wasting theirs. What if you get a call and the person is asking you to do something or look up some information, but you don't really know yet because you're new at this job? Maybe you would want to say right away think that it's okay to say, "I'm new here. Sorry, I'm new here. Let me find out." No, don't do that. When you say to them that you're new, right away, they will not feel confident that you are going to be able to help them, even if you can. Just imagine you are the one calling in and somebody says they're new here. Maybe it will want you to hang up and try to call somebody else. You're not really going to see them as a reliable person. So if you are the person that you are in a new position, then you want to tell them in a way that you are problem solving that issue. Instead of saying, "I don't know," or "I'm not sure," then you can definitely say this: "That's not something I know off the top of my head, but I will certainly figure that out for you." Which, by the way, if you're more interested in certain idioms that you can use, you can also check out my video that I have. Here's a question that is perfectly grammatically correct in English. What do you need? You ask this in informal occasions to friends, colleagues. What do you need sounds fine if the person can actually see your body language, but in the case of customer service, through phone calls, if you ask someone, "What do you need?" it actually has a very negative connotation. What do I mean by that? That means it might come off as you actually don't want to help them. You don't have enough time. You don't want to say, "What do you need?" Even though, yes, technically it might be your job to help, there are ways to say that in a friendly, professional way. A very common phrase to use is, how may I help you today? How may I help you today? Way more professional than just saying, what do you need? Another way to ask that as well is, how may I assist you today? How may I assist you today? If I had that kind of customer service, you bet I would feel comfortable talking to the person on the other line versus, what do you need? I might just hang up. A very common issue with working in a call center, particularly if English is not your first language, is that you have to pause. For example, you are thinking how to translate something, you're looking up information. It's a lot of work having to work in a language that is not your first language. There's a lot of time for fillers. In regular English, it is completely fine to say or let me think, right? That's what native speakers do. But if you're working in a call center providing customer service, then that actually makes you sound unprofessional. That's the last thing you want to do. You don't want to sound unprofessional by saying, let me look this up. And you don't want to give a negative impression. So what can you say instead? Well, believe it or not, pausing is fine. If it's specific moments of a little bit of silence while you're looking up information, it's completely fine. It is showing that you're actively listening, you're working to solve an issue, or you're looking up information. But if you have to say something, you can narrate what you're doing. Or instead of, sometimes I use the word all right, or let's see. All right, let's see. I'm looking at your account and it shows, instead of saying, okay, let me see, right? So, all right, let's see, let me take a look. Or very specific pausing that doesn't take too long to make it awkward is completely fine. These or uhs not only make you sound unprofessional, but it could sound coming from the phone line that you might be distracted. Just imagine someone is saying that to you over the phone, you might think they are focused on something else as well. They're distracted, they're not 100% present for you. So you never want to give that vibe when you're on the phone. The next word that you don't want to use is sometimes used even as a filler word for native speakers. I hear it all the time, and I'll be the first to admit I use this often when I'm speaking. It's the word honestly. For example, be like, honestly speaking, I'm not sure which one would be the better option. Honestly, it sounds like you might have to call this number instead. Honestly this, honestly that. Why are we saying it? Native speakers sometimes treat it like a filler word, or they really are trying to make a point that they're honest about something. But in customer service and when you're on the phone, don't use the word honestly. It really does make the caller question you as a representative. You don't want them questioning you. You just want to make sure that you keep sounding professional. So again, going back to the previous, pause or use other ways to fill in the pause without saying honestly. The last one I have for you today, I will be honest, and I really am being honest. I use no problem. If somebody says, thank you for helping me, it's okay in an informal setting, face to face, to say, hey, no problem. But on the phone, you're providing customer service. You don't even want to mention the word problem. You want to stay away from that because it might question, like, was it a problem in the first place? What's going on? Instead of saying, hey, no problem, say, you're welcome. Thank you for your call. Other ways to replace the no problem is saying, of course, or my pleasure, my pleasure. Steer away from the no problem phrase. These were just a few of the tips that you can incorporate as you continue to build your skills speaking English to callers on the phone. You want to check out some of my other videos related to this. They're all listed under my playlist, Business English or Speaking English. Feel free to check them out. And always, always, always feel free to comment below with questions. And thank you. Thank you so much for checking out this channel, this video. Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments section. Again, if you haven't liked or subscribed this video, I would really appreciate it. Definitely builds up my motivation to continue doing this. Let me know what you think. See ya.